The sound hit first rubber, screaming against hottest foam, asphalt, slicing the quiet like it had been waiting all day to ruin someone's peace. I was halfway across Birchwood Avenue, my baby tucked into the crook of my arm, humming that same tune my mama used to hum to me. For a second, I almost thought the noise was part of the song in my head, until the cruiser came into view. It stopped so hard the back tires lifted. Door flew open and here he came, Officer Clayton Reeves. Didn't look at my baby, didn't see the diaper bag or the pink knit cap sliding off her head. What he saw was a black woman in a gray hoodie holding something, and he decided the story from there. You match the description of a robbery suspect, he barked, hand hovering over his gun like he'd been waiting all week to draw it. I kept my voice steady, just barely. I'm walking home from the park. This is my daughter. He didn't blink. Step away from the child. Get on the ground. My chest locked. She's 5 months old. I'm not putting her down in the street. That's when his voice went up sharp enough to make the baby whimper. Do it now. Across the street, Mrs. Ellis paused mid-sweep on her porch. 2 teenagers stopped their skateboards. Somebody with a Labrador fumbled for their phone. The neighborhood was waking up to the show, and Reeves didn't like the audience. I'm not resisting. I tried again. Please look, this is a mistake. You don't tell me what's a mistake. And then came the click. Not the kind you imagine, it was louder, meaner. My daughter screamed, and that sound shredded whatever composure I had left. Before I could even think, there was a flash and a crack, and a bullet chewed into the ground inches from my foot, spitting gravel up into the air. Voices erupted. Someone yelled, "She's got a baby, you psycho!" Another shouted, "I'm recording this!" But Reeves kept coming, eyes locked like I was a mark on a shooting range. That was the moment I knew. The wave I'd been bracing for was here. I raised my wrist, tilted my lips toward the watch, and whispered, "Sierra 9, activate." No one else heard it, but behind that whisper, an encrypted vault lit up video-audio timestamps beaming out to a network I'd helped build in secret. Because I wasn't just a mom trying to get home. I was a systems architect for a community watchdog project, and this man had just stepped right into my trap. Another cruiser pulled up. Officer Lauren Pike stepped out, younger, white, with that hesitant look people get when they're trying to decide which side of the line they're standing on. "She's holding a baby," Clayton Pike called out. Reeves didn't even glance at her. "You gonna side with her? I'm siding with what's right." Phones were everywhere now, the delivery guy from up the block stepping forward to say he'd just seen me at the park alone with the baby. Reeves's jaw flexed like he was chewing glass. "You want to play smart?" he hissed at me. I lifted my chin. "My daughter's name is Mila. She laughed for the first time yesterday. I was saving it for her dad when he comes home from deployment. But if I die here, someone ought to know who she is." That froze him, just long enough for Pike to wedge herself between us. "Gun down, Reeves, now." He backed up, muttering about non-compliance and questioning. The cuffs bit into my wrists harder than they had to. Mrs. Ellis came forward, her hands shaking but her voice steel. "I'll take the baby, honey. No one's touching her while I'm breathing." I kissed Mila's forehead and told her, "You're with Grandma," even though she wasn't. And then they shoved me into the back of that cruiser. The holding cell smelled like bleach and old sweat. On the opposite bench sat an older black woman who introduced herself as Miss Lorraine. "They said I was loitering," she told me. Really, I was waiting for my sister. She never showed. But I fit the description, black and breathing. We shared the kind of silence you only get with strangers who've lived the same bruise. Later, Officer Pike brought me into a small interview room. No swagger now, just pale skin and restless hands. "You matched an active description," she said, but even she didn't sound convinced. "No," I told her. "Protocol says you investigate, you assess threat. I had a baby in my arms, and your partner fired a live round inches away." She didn't answer. So I leaned in. "Every word, every action that happened out there is already on a secure server. You're not the only ones collecting data anymore." Her eyes flickered. That was the moment she realized I wasn't just another arrest. After they cut me loose, I went straight to the one person I trusted, Zane Porter, an investigative journalist who stored his files in metal cabinets and carried 3 burner phones. I handed him a flash drive with months of data, body cam footage, dispatch logs, complaint, records, all pointing to one thing: over-policing in black neighborhoods tied to a private contractor called Sentinel Force. Reeves wasn't a rogue. He was a tool. And that's when Pike showed up at Zane's apartment in civilian clothes, looking over her shoulder. She told us there was a hidden database tracking disruptors, people who filed too many records, requests, organized communities questioned authority. My name had been flagged. Reeves was sent to provoke me to get something on tape they could twist. I didn't have time to be shocked. I had work to do. We set a trap. A week later, Zane and I crouched behind shipping containers at an old free 8-yard. Pike fed us updates through an earpiece. Reeves showed up right on time, only he wasn't alone. Captain Marcos Velez, head of Sentinel Force for the region, walked beside him. From the shadows, we caught every word. Reeves was panicking. "That woman has everything. You told me she'd be silenced." Velez snapped back. "Instead, you embarrassed the shield. You embarrassed me." Then Reeves said it. "I didn't put her in that database. You did. It wasn't just an officer out of control, it was sanctioned." When Velez handed Reeves a small black drive, I gave the signal. Zane's drone light flared, and we went live to thousands of viewers. Pike had called in real units as backup. The yard erupted, shouts, floodlights, running boots. Reeves and Velez bolted, but not before I scooped up that drive. The next morning, the footage was everywhere. Headlines called me the mother who hacked the machine. People started sending in their own clips of harassment and abuse. And that's when the message came: no sender, just a photo of Mila in her crib taken through our apartment window. Pike got one too, her niece on a playground. It was their way of saying, "We're not running anymore. We're hunting." We moved into a safe house deep in the pines, but the fight didn't stop. An anonymous package landed in Zane's hands, a hard drive labeled "Priority Targets." Hundreds of names: journalists, pastors, activists, mine and Pike's in the top 10. That was it. No more playing defense. I filed a federal RICO suit against Sentinel Force and their partners. Pike resigned publicly, her letter starting with, "Silence isn't neutral. It's complicity." I spoke at a university soon after. I didn't wear makeup, didn't carry notes, just held up a photo of me holding Mila the second before Reeves fired that shot. Being a mother is not a threat, I told them. But to some, the color of my skin makes it dangerous. They weren't afraid of what I did. They were afraid of what I knew. The hashtag exploded. Executives at Sentinel resigned. Documents leaked. Federal and state investigations opened. And still, strange cars lingered near the safe house. Anonymous calls whispered warnings. Sentinel was just a contract. The machine keeps moving. When the evidentiary hearing finally came, the courtroom was electric: body cam footage, internal memos. Pike's testimony, they all painted the same picture. Under pressure, Velez cracked. "You think I did this alone? Go check the mayor's emails, the DA's calendar, invites." The judge referred the case to federal authorities for civil rights violations. I addressed the court before leaving. I didn't come for revenge. I came because I was almost killed holding my daughter, and no one would have known if I hadn't whispered one sentence into a watch. I'm fighting for the next mother who just wants to bring her child home alive. The grand jury's report dropped weeks later: indictments for Reeves, Velez, and several Sentinel execs. 4 precincts put under review. That night, I rocked Mila to sleep in the safe house. Through the half-drawn curtains, I spotted a black SUV idling at the end of the street. It didn't move, and neither did I. I sat at my desk, pulled up the latest draft of the lawsuit, and hit send. They thought I whispered a code. What I really whispered was a reckoning. And for once, the world listened. Now I want to know, if it were you out there holding your baby with a gun in your face, what would you have done? And if you've ever seen someone targeted just for existing, tell me in the comments. Because these aren't just my battles, they're ours.